Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is basically going to be a get ready with me as I talk to you about everything that's happened to me since my first upload, which was about 3 to 4 years ago. I think we're going on to 4 years. But yeah, I'm gonna get ready. Okay, so first and foremost, my first year of college. That video, wow, it kind of did well. Like, I think it has like 3,000 views, and I'm a nobody, so girl, that I did pretty good for that. I think the second video I had uploaded, I basically put in the video that I was gonna make a separate video explaining like why I left CSUB, and I never did. And I actually did make a video on it, but for some reason I just felt like it was not the right time to upload a video like that. I like downplayed myself a lot, and I just felt like nobody really wanted to see that. Like, nobody wanted an explanation as to why Narrowly from South Central like left CSUB. Like, that's kind of like how I viewed it, so I never ended up uploading that video. And I was also still pretty angry at the situation. Like, it was still very fresh. I just thought the best option was not to upload that video. So what ended up happening was my first year of college at CSUB was pretty rough. I was going through a long-term relationship with this guy. It was very toxic. It was an on and off relationship for about 4 years. I was also going through a lot with my mom. I feel like during this age, I just despised my mom, and I was really just looking for any reason to get away from her and my family. And so yeah, that's what I did. I went to the farthest college, which was CSUB. My family's honestly pretty lucky that I didn't go to Hawaii Pacific, because that was my second option. But when I ended up attending this school, at first I really did like it, but the environment was just not something that I was used to. And not to sound conceited or like a stuck-up girl or anything, but I am from Los Angeles. I live in the middle of the city, and so I'm used to the chaos. I'm used to, you know, the car accidents, the gangbangers, like people doing dumb shit, like. But yeah, I just was used to that environment. And so when I left to Bakersfield, which is literally in the middle of nowhere, I was not used to it. I was not used to being somewhere so quiet, where people are not that chaotic. Like, it was just something I was not used to. I'm just used to that, like the fire trucks, like all that. Like, you don't have that, you don't get that in Bakersfield, especially the area that CSUB is located in. Like, it's literally located on the rich area side of Bakersfield. So yeah, it was really hard getting used to that. And also, I didn't really like my roommate at the time. I did like her because obviously she was my roommate, and I didn't want no beef, and I hate confrontation and all of that. So I was just being a good sport, I guess. She's a type B person, but like on crack, and I am a type A person, which, if you don't know what that means, type A is basically somebody who's really clean, and type B is somebody who's really messy, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I just feel like my roommate had a lot going on in her life, and it was her first time getting a taste of freedom. She was just going through so much, doing so much, and it was just really annoying. So I didn't like coming to school anymore. I didn't like living on campus anymore, because every time I would come home or to my dorm, my roommate would be smoking, or she would be experimenting with some new type of drug, and it was just really annoying. Like, I'm sorry, but she quite literally put me through hell while I was living there. I didn't really live on campus. Like, that whole year that I was there, I came home Thursday in the morning and I would leave Monday in the morning as well. Like I would take the Greyhound bus and it's like a 2-hour drive from LA to Bakersfield. I just did that the whole year, and sometimes I wouldn't even go to school. Like I would just stay home for like an extra week. By the time I moved out, my roommate, because she was so used to me not being there, the whole room and the whole like common area, the bathroom, everything just felt like it was her space, and it just kind of felt like I was invading her space. Like I was, like, the best way I can describe it is it felt like I was living in her apartment. When I moved out, my roommate she had caused damages to the dorm, and we had agreed that any of the damages that the school found, she was going to be responsible for, because I did nothing. I barely was at my dorm, so I didn't think it was right for me to pay those damages because she made them. And you know, we had agreed on that. But of course, by the time the end of May came around, my school ended up telling me that I owed a large amount of money and that I wouldn't be able to enroll into classes or move into my new dorm for the next upcoming year if I didn't pay these damages, because it was a lot of damages and it was a large amount of money. So they just were like, okay, if you don't pay this, you're not gonna be able to do this, that, and that. And girl, that made me crash out, because I'm like, bro, I did no damages. Like, the damages was literally my roommate. I was barely on campus. Like, I just didn't think it was right for me to pay all those damages. So she was going through a lot, and I ended up texting her, telling her that, like, I would really appreciate it if she could pay for the damages, because that's what we had agreed on. You know, she was the only one really at the dorm. I was never there, and I just didn't think it was right for me to pay those damages. She basically ended up telling me that she couldn't pay for it because she had a lot going on. And I was like, girl, are you serious? I was like, bro, now what am I gonna do? Like, that quite literally made me crash out, because I'm like, I have to enroll into my classes, I have to move into my dorm, like, and I can't afford the amount of money for the damages. Like, it's too much money, and I don't have that money. I don't have a job. Like, I'm barely moving back in with my mom. Like, it was just too much, and I quite literally crashed out. Those 3 months, like that entire summer, I was basically going back and forth with the school, because I tried to appeal my case, and they were like, no, it doesn't matter like how the room was set up, or how many times you were at the dorm or not. Like, the damages are on your side, so you need to pay for it. Hello everybody, this is Future Narrowly here. I just wanted to show you guys how the room looked, because it's kind of hard to explain it. Our room wasn't set up the traditional way where it's like half and half. Our room was split up like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. It's literally a square, and in the middle, what the, I didn't even know that could do that. What? It's a square, and you know how it's like this cut, like a triangle, and you have A and B down here. Okay, so that's basically how our room was set up. So when the school was looking at our room to see like where the damages were at, the section where it's cut off on her side, she had damaged my side of the wall. So the school was like, that's your fault. And also, in the middle of the line, she had also damaged the carpet. So the school was like, this is actually on your side and not on her side. I'm sorry if that was like really confusing. It was confusing for me to explain to you guys, but yeah, that's literally the best way I could describe it. And they were like, the only way that she can pay for the damages is if she sends us an email saying that she's responsible for those damages. But yeah, my roommate ended up emailing my school, or not my school, but CSUB, telling them that she's responsible for those damages, so she's gonna pay for anything that was damaged in the room. And so the school said, okay, that's fine. And so I believe she ended up like 2/3 of the amount was transferred to her student portal account. While all of this was happening, although I'm like explaining it in simple terms and making it seem like this all happened within a few days, no, this actually happened the entire summer. That's how long this whole process was. Like, it took 3 months for them to accept my appeal, to decline it. The entire process took about 3 months, and it did affect my mental health a lot because, again, I didn't have a job. I had no way to pay for this money. After everything that happened, on the week that I was supposed to start school, the school ended up telling me that the only balance I need to pay is $275, and I was literally debating on paying this amount because I was like, bruh, I don't have that much money. Like, I'm quite literally broke, so I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I really had to sit and think about what I was gonna do with myself and my future. Did I want to continue going to a school that I would have to take a loan out for because I couldn't afford to attend or live on campus? Or do I step away from college for a little bit and just kind of figure out what I want to do with myself? And essentially I ended up going with the second option. I canceled my housing application, which was $200. That $200 ended up going into CSUB, like my account money thingy that I owed, and I just paid $75 out of pocket. But yeah, I ended up leaving CSUB, and honestly that was like the greatest decision ever. Yeah, that school just wasn't for me, so I just decided to leave the school. Now I ended up transferring to a school called Santa Monica College. I did part-time at this school while I worked. During those 2 years that I was part-time, I actually ended up traveling a lot. I went to Hawaii, to Seattle, San Francisco, Cancun. Those whole 2 years where I was just traveling and working, it really made me realize that traveling is for me and that I'm low-key a travel baddie. Like, I love to travel. Now we're at the part where I was at my lowest ever. As I mentioned before, I was dating this guy for about 4 years. We had a very toxic relationship on both parts. It was really bad, but I can say that he was worse than me. During this time, I was going through a lot. This guy was not being the greatest ever, and so I got really depressed. I ended up developing an eating disorder. I lost about 50 pounds, and then out of nowhere this man decides to break up with me, and it caught me off guard. And come to find out, around his birthday he was already talking to somebody new, which is like, bro, what? That's crazy. This entire situation was really bad for me because my entire world revolved around him, his friends, his career, like everything. Like, I was in that shit. Being cut off from somebody like that, having to find myself all over again because I completely lost myself. I quite literally went through hell, but it was worth it because after all of that, I removed all his friends from every social media platform because I didn't think it was right for me to continue being friends with them after everything that I had went through. The following year, I ended up meeting this guy, and I locked the fuck in with him. We dated for a year. I got proposed to a year later, which is this year, and I'm a fiance now, and next year I'm getting married. But it just kind of makes me sad because I've never been with anybody that treats me like this. Like, this is my first time like being with somebody where it's peaceful. It's just so like calm. I'm getting spoiled. I'm getting shown off to and all that. Oh my god, it just melts my heart. Like, it just, oh my god, I'm gonna cry and I don't want to cry. Also, not to take away from what I just said, but I also ended up transferring to CSUDH, which is Cal State Dominguez Hills. Bro, I love it here. Like, man, this school is so underrated. A lot of people shit on it because their acceptance rate is like 80 or something like that. Girl, shut the We have a whole bunch of people do not talk about. Also, my refund checks, because I don't live on campus anymore, I'm getting a good amount of money. Yeah, I really love Dominguez Hills. It's really nice. I love the professors here, especially the psych professors. I also just finished my first year there, and it was honestly really nice. I enjoyed it. This semester was very hard, and also last semester I was going through a lot, but you know, I made the most of it. I passed all my classes this year. Also, I have 2 international trips this year. I'm going to Mexico City in about 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks from now, and then I'm going on my dream trip, which is Japan. I'm gonna be in Japan for about 18 to 19 days, I believe. Gonna go to Tokyo, Fujisan, Osaka, Kyoto, Nara, and gonna come back to Tokyo and then leave to LA. But man, this is literally my dream trip. Like, I've always wanted to go there, and finally like being in a position where I can actually go to this trip, oh, I'm just so excited. But yeah, that's basically everything that has happened since I left CSUB. I think I answered like the questions that were asked in the comments and also through Instagram, because I know there has been like a couple people that have DM'd me on Instagram like asking for stuff. But yeah, that's everything that I have lined up for this year. Really excited for the future, and I'm honestly glad that everything that has happened in the past happened, because it's brought me to this part of my life where I'm happy and I'm content with my life. I love my life, and even though I've gone through all that, like, I don't let it get to me. You know, it had to happen in order for me to reach this point of my life. But that basically concludes the video. If you guys have any more questions or anything like that, please comment them down below. I am gonna make a YouTube video on my trip to Mexico City and to Japan. I am gonna record that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and bye.